Okay, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Obviously, we're excited about being able to represent South Carolina in the Southeastern Conference in the Gasparilla Bowl. I've got a very, very good opponent in University of Alabama, Birmingham. Coach Clark has done an outstanding job building that football program. We all know what happened a few years ago, and the way they've built it back up and been competitive has been, something to see. Balanced offensive football team. I think they average around 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing every game. Defensively, they've always been stingy. They've got good football players. Haven't watched a lot of tape yet. I just know who Bill Clark is and what he represents and how his football teams play. And I've talked to a couple coaches that have played these guys in the past and talked about how physical this football team is. And I know they're going to be hungry to play. We found out that we were playing in the bowl game today after we had finished all our meetings and basically had finished our walkthrough today. I told them right before we started stretching, we were not going to work on an opponent today anyway, but it was good to finally hear who we were playing. We had a good about an hour and a half practice, and then we'll get to work on UAB tonight as a coaching staff and tomorrow and have our first practice against them tomorrow. Questions?
Let's go to David Cloninger with the first one.
Hey, Mike, thanks for doing this. Since the guys got back last week, have you had any more guys opt out or say they're not going to play in the bowl? Just what's the status of the roster right now?
The guys that you know about are Shy Smith and Sedarius Hutchinson, Ernest Jones, or those guys. No disrespect to anybody right here, and I'm sure y'all be trying to find out everybody who's not here. But I'm not gonna announce our roster, our depth chart till the day before the game. I don't see it does us any good. We know we're shorthanded. We know what we got. We're gonna get ready to play with who we got, and then y'all will see who's not there when time for the bowl game. Just not trying to be ugly, David. I just don't want to give any advantage to our opponent, who's in and who's out leading up to the first game. It's not like the NFL where we have to say who's playing.
Let's go to Ben Briner with the next one.
Hey, Mike, with sort of the timing of it getting on you guys so fast, is that tricky because you obviously didn't know until today, or is it maybe kind of an advantage that there isn't a drawn out bowl situation with kind of everything?
I think it's an advantage. I'm glad that we're playing early. I'm glad that the guys are here. We don't have to practice a couple of days and send them home. I've talked about on several occasions how long this season's been for these players, not just physically but mentally. I think it's good that we're going to play a game this Saturday. We'll get these practices in and we're going to go down there and compete. It's another opportunity to compete. It's like I told her tonight, the season has not been at all what we expected. It's been a very, very disappointing 2020, but guess what? We have another opportunity to put our name on something, and our name's going to be on the Gasparilla Bowl. And, if we've got that opportunity, let's make sure we put our best foot forward. And, I thought the guys, responded well today. You never know how the guys are going to, come out. It's been a long year and a lot of stuff going on out there, of guys not playing in bowl games, teams opting out. It's like I told these guys, you chose to play, for South Carolina, and you play in the Southeastern Conference. And, the reason you chose to play in this conference and this team is because we love to compete. And anytime somebody puts the ball down, we're ready to play in this conference. And I think our guys got the message, and we'll be ready to play on Saturday.
Eric Boyton.
Yeah, Mike, you just said you're not going to give away any of the secrets, but do you expect to have all three of your quarterbacks available? And do you know in your mind right now who the starter is going to be?
I do know who the starter is going to be in the ball game. It's going to be Luke Doty. We're going to continue to rep the guys at quarterback this week, but Luke's going to be the starter, and feel like we're going to put a game plan together to hopefully help him be successful.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, I guess just how would you divvy up coaching duties offensively? I mean, I know Eric Wolf got the job at Kentucky. What's the plan for the offensive line? How do you kind of divvy up coaching responsibilities this week?
Man, I don't know. I call it Big Farm. It's Landon. What's Landon's last name?
Landon Martin.
Landon Martin.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's terrible. Big Farm. That's what.
I like Big Farm better.
Big Farm. Landon Martin, who has been a quality control. I don't know how long he's been at South Carolina. I think he's been here think it's 5 years. But this is a guy that played at Newberry College, played offensive line, and he's a guy I've been impressed with since the day I've walked in. Very, very organized, worked hand in hand with Coach Wolf, what he could do per NCAA rules. He understands the guys. The guys know who he is. He's knowledgeable of what we're doing offensively. Obviously, it won't be Coach Wolford, and we're gonna miss him. But Coach Farm, Big Farm, Coach Landon has jumped in there and done a nice job. Everybody else will be status quo as the way it's been the last 3 games. Coach Robinson and Coach Krantz got back in today. They were in last week to do their COVID test, but they were in today. And hats off to those guys, to coming back to coach the bowl for these kids. I can't say enough, of what this whole staff has done. Through a tough time for them the last 3 weeks, and now, in a bowl game. But they know it's important to show these kids how you continue to work when you put in situations that you may not like, but you got a job to do. And these guys are showing these guys how to handle their business like adults.
Dick Cox.
Merry Christmas, Coach.
Merry Christmas.
A lot of people say that a 2-8 South Carolina team doesn't belong in the bowl, but you played 9 teams with an all-SEC conference that qualified. And again, any other conference, you would have probably been a 500 team or better.
Yeah, I mean, usually, you don't win the number of bowl games. You don't go to a bowl, and that's, this year is not the case with all the situation that's going on with the pandemic and some conferences not being able to play, some not being able to play a number of games. We don't make the rules. And that's what I told the guys, a week ago. We don't make the rules, but we're going to be given an opportunity to play. And we got to see that as a blessing. We could sit here and say, hey, we wish it was over. Let's just start fresh in January. But that's the wrong attitude to have in my mind. In my mind, your time is right now. Don't put it off. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Hey, I'm going to start fresh when Coach Beamer walks in here in January and you got an opportunity to start changing, I don't want to use the word culture, because everybody uses that word, but, taking ownership as an individual for your football team right now. Why wait? Take ownership as an individual, how you go about your business, and you've got a chance to start changing the narrative, one by one, person by person on this football team. And that does not directly result in W's on Saturday, but if we start doing it now, it's going to help for the future. Every one of those guys came here to South Carolina, to play in the SEC, to play for championships, to get a quality education. Don't waste your time here. The time's too valuable. It's going to be gone before you know it, and you're going to wish you had an opportunity to play football again. So don't waste that time.
Joe Gorchow.
Hope you're doing well, Coach. Good to see you. I'm curious, what has your relationship been like with Coach Beamer, and how will you work with him this week as you take the reins in terms of running the ship to get this team ready? But obviously, Coach Beamer will be there watching on. So how is that relationship, and what will that look like this week between you and Coach Beamer?
Well, Coach Beamer just got in town this afternoon. I saw him right before we went out to practice and kind of told him what time that we would start practice. Coach Beamer is going to be meeting with the kids individually on an individual basis and have one-on-one conversations with each guy. And myself and the staff, our responsibility is to get the team ready to play for the bowl game. He's going to be handling duties outside of the bowl game. He's going to come out to practice. We're going to see him in practice and watch practice and be around the guys. But as far as bowl prep and things like that, he's not going to be involved with that. He's working on the future of South Carolina, and it's our job to make sure, we finish strong this year. That's what he wants us to do as a football staff, and is directed to me.
Josh Kendall.
Hey, Mike, first of all, how many practices have y'all, what was today in terms of practice number since you've been back?
Today was really practice 1.
Okay.
Last week we lifted and ran and had some, player run practices similar to what they do in the summer leading up to fall camp. That was last week. Today was practice 1, and then we'll have, it'll be just like a regular game week, except we'll have, 2 extra practices. We haven't done a lot on Sunday or Monday, toward the end of the season because of numbers. So I felt like we needed to go out and do something today, even though we didn't have an opponent, because the last time we really did something against each other was December 5th at the Kentucky game. And pleasantly surprised and pleased with the way we practiced today. We'll basically have probably 2 Tuesday practices with a Monday and Tuesday We'll have our normal Wednesday practice. Then we'll have a walkthrough on Thursday before we fly down. And then we'll have our Fast Friday the day before the game. I guess that's on Christmas Day, day before the game on Saturday.
And secondly, have you had conversations yet with Shane about your potential future here, and when do you need to make that decision or want to make that decision for yourself about what's next after the game?
I have. I've talked to Coach Beamer about that, but I'm going to let Coach Beamer answer, those questions about the staff.
Thanks, Mike.
Rick Henry?
Hey, Coach, Merry Christmas to you and your family. When you get a bowl bid, one of the benefits is the extra practice time. Is that even more valuable to a team like South Carolina coming off a tough season, so many young players, not only to practice on things like technique, but just to build more confidence?
And it's really almost been like, with this year, so many guys that have opted out or been injured and not lost for the season, and our numbers, being low, the last few weeks has been practicing young guys. And, this is a little bit different where, I think 15 is the number of practices is allowed by the NCAA leading up to a bowl game. I don't know. I've talked to a bunch of coaches. Nobody's going to use anywhere close to that, because of the time frame and how long this season's been. And usually a lot of those practices you use to practice the young guys. All our guys are practicing. I think we had maybe 51 or 52 scholarship guys practicing today. Our numbers are low. So to practice 15 times or to do too much at practice would not be beneficial for the team. But back to the confidence part, I do think it's good. I even said this after we played, Kentucky. There's a lot of guys out there playing football. And even though the result was not what probably all of those guys wanted, individually or as a team, you can't say enough for experience. When you have experience, good or bad, and you learn from that, that's going to help you down the road. And that was kind of my message after practice tonight. It's another opportunity for us to play, but it's another opportunity for you to gain experience and to grow individually and grow as a football team. And if they'll take that mindset and that attitude, we'll have a chance to improve. And every opportunity you have a chance to improve, you can't waste that opportunity. And sometimes it's human nature. We all do it. We procrastinate. We put things off. Why would we do that? Let's take advantage of this opportunity to improve you individually and as a football team. And I've said this to you guys, and I say it to the team a lot. It doesn't matter who's standing up here in front of you. It's your football team. When are you guys going to take ownership of that and start to grow? And and there's some guys that are starting to speak up and take leadership roles. And it's a time for not only to gain experience on the field, but also gain experience in leadership roles. And I think that's good. Anytime you get guys together and you put them in a competitive environment, you put them around each other, and you make them strain. And they learn how to strain and fight through when things aren't going good. I think good can come out of that. If you strain and don't go through the motions, that's what we got to fight, that we're not just going through the motions just to show up and play in a bowl game. That's not what we do here at South Carolina. That's not what anybody should do. Anytime you do something, you're putting your name on it, and that's your name. You're signing your name to this Gasparilla Bowl. That's your legacy.
Let's go to Hale McGranahan.
Coach, kind of on that topic, have you been able to see enough in terms of sample size to have a feel for some of those individuals who are kind of showing you that type of stuff? Or
I mentioned Luke Doty has done a nice job of that. He's excited, to be at practice. He was excited today. When I was talking to the team and got up and broke those guys down. He's a guy I've seen. Defensively, guys like, Cam Smith and John Dixon, who have been kind of in the wings the last few years, their confidence level, start to get a little bit higher. Now, they haven't been really, really vocal, but you see their confidence start to improve by the plays that they've played in the game and the reps that they've gotten, either good or bad. DeCarrion Joyner has done some nice things. I'm talking about, leadership and speaking up. And then, sometimes you don't want to say, hey, here's the guy. You can't say, hey, hell, you're the leader of this football team. It don't work like that. leadership is influence. And if a kid doesn't have any influence on the football team and you say, hey, he's the leader, you're just kidding yourself as a coach. So we have to cultivate the kids that have influence on this football team. And the ones that have that good influence, those are the ones we need to cultivate and put in leadership roles. And the ones that have bad influence, quite frankly, we need to get them out of here.
Let's go to Phil Kornblum.
Yeah, hey, Mike. Do you know right now what you're going to do on the offense, replacing the two starters who have opted out, Shy and Darius?
No, not yet. The good thing, we have played some guys, probably not as many guys up front as I thought we would going into the season. And I don't know if we can replace, those two guys. Darius had an outstanding year for us at left guard. I thought he's at his more natural position inside opposed to playing tackle, which he did last year and played outstanding. And Shy, as we all know, was probably our most dynamic playmaker in the passing game. Obviously, Kevin Harrison in our running game was able to generate explosive plays. But, up front, we're going to mess around with some combinations and maybe moving more inside, maybe getting Tyshawn Wanamaker some reps, a guy that, hasn't played this year, but it's a bowl game, give him some opportunities. But our numbers are good at the offensive line as far as bodies and capable bodies that have got a lot of reps in practice. We just got to find the right combination. And talking with Coach Landon last week when I knew Coach Wolf was taking a job at Kentucky, we talked about, creating some competition this week and talking about playing, more than 5 guys, maybe having a tackle rotation with 3 guys, working the tackle position, some inside guys being able to rotate. At the end of the day, we're not just going to put them out there to put them out there, but have some competition. And if they deserve to play, let them play in this game. And going back to what Rick asked, that's good for experience moving down the road. Receiver position, the last the Missouri game, and then really in the second half, into the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we didn't have Shy Smith, and guys like to carry on are going to have to step up. Trey Atkins in the slot. We might move Josh Fan in the slot, and Jakari Caldwell step up outside. There's a slight chance that Xavier Leggett is back this game. Here's a guy that's had a lot of high hopes for it, just been bothered with injuries all year, and it's a chance we get him back. But we're still kind of trying to piece things together a little bit at the receiver position, and we're going to have to be a little bit creative in that area or in the passing game to move the ball.
Looks like we got about 6 questions left, so we'll wrap up after those 6. We'll try to get to all you, and then let Coach get out of here. John Whittle with the next one.
Mike, obviously you've been real familiar with South Carolina after all your years at Georgia. Having been here for a year, what do you think about the program and the direction? And is this a place where you would like to stay under Shane Beamer?
Well, I wouldn't have came to Columbia if it was not a place I did not want to be and raise my family. It wasn't the only opportunity I had last year, and I, obviously chose this place, a chance to work with Will that I talked about when I got here. But a lot goes into that as well. Where you're going to raise your family, where they're going to go to school, and I've got kids that one's going into senior year, and then I've got triplets that are going to be going into high school, and then I've got another one in middle school. So it's important, they went somewhere that hopefully we could see ourselves long term. Now we all know we're in the coaching profession, and things change. And at the end of the day, I said this after, I believe, the Kentucky game, we'll end up where, we're supposed to end up. And family is where your feet are. And I firmly believe that, but I like Columbia, or my kids like Columbia. The one thing that was disappointing me about, Columbia this year, or being in South Carolina, was, the COVID and the pandemic. I didn't get to experience Williams-Brice, as stadium, being on South Carolina's side. I've always been on the other side, and it's been so intimidating. I think it's such a huge advantage, for them being the home team, and that atmosphere and the passion of these fans. We didn't get to see that. So, we'll see what happens after the bowl game. But right now I'm focused on the bowl game, and I will be fine wherever I end up. I know that. And I believe in my family. I believe in my abilities to coach ball, and I'll have a chance to coach ball with us here somewhere else.
David Cloninger.
Mike, how did the decision go to play in this bowl game among the players? Was there a vote, or did everybody just say we want to play? How did the decision making come?
Well, there's no vote when you go in the SEC. You come to play in the SEC, you come to play ball. And I told them we're going to play in a ball game, and guys that want to play, we're going to report back at this day. If you don't want to play, you need to opt out. It's kind of, we didn't have a vote.
Ben Brenner.
Mike, just what have the last few weeks kind of been like for you, sort of preparing to do this? And I guess I'm guessing kind of playing a lot of things by ear with sort of not knowing, that kind of indecision.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks to the staff. And they've done such a nice job of being professional. It's not an ideal situation for anybody. I could sit here and say, woe is me, been the interim head coach, here in the pandemic, coach, and at the end of the day, we have jobs to do. We know the business when we get in this business. And if you truly are a coach, you got in it to help young people and help them reach them goals and see them grow, not just on the field, but off the field, and help them learn how to fight through adversity. And I can't say enough about the staff, how they've handled themselves, professionally and personally around each other. It's been a joy to work with. So, winning, obviously is why we, is part of the reason why we do it. And that's a lot of fun in that locker room after you win. But camaraderie is also another reason why you got in coaching, is to be around guys and you're all, pointed in the same direction, trying to help young people. And you can't see it right now. It's kind of my message to the other coach. You can't see it or kind of actually understand it, but we have a chance to make more of a difference in these kids' lives right now when basically, what's hit the fan in all directions and showing them how to respond in the right way. And I can't say enough about these guys. And, Coach T-Rob coming back, Coach Krantz, they had more energy in practice than they had all year tonight. And that's good for those kids to see. They know that they're not going to be here and ask not to return, and they show up and they go to work for those kids. And that's something that those kids are going to be able to look back on when things get tough in their life, because it's going to get tough, how to respond. It hadn't been easy, but it's been fun. The fun's in the grind. The fun's in the grind. And if you keep putting yourself out there and keep putting your on in that arena, that famous quote, success is on the other side. I firmly believe that. Failure leads to success. Everybody wants to sit back and have an opinion, behind some Twitter handle or behind some code name that we don't know who they are, and have all these damn opinions, but they don't put themselves out there. These kids and these coaches are the ones putting themselves out here on a daily basis.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, Mike, you kind of alluded to this a little bit over the course of this interview session, but it sounds like with all the coming off a disappointing season, with the kids being taken away from being able to spend Christmas with their families, there seems to be a lot of reasons not to be excited about playing this game. But it sounds like from your standpoint, the guys that are suiting up, they're excited about getting a chance to play one more time and excited about the chance to end the season with a win.
I truly believe so, Eric. It's human nature to be, disappointed and be fatigued from the long season and want to go home, and see your families. And we all do, we all, my family's leaving tomorrow and heading to see my wife's parents. I'm not going to be with them on Christmas, first time, ever. But, we came here all for different reasons, but we all chose South Carolina. And, and my message after Kentucky, if you look at yourself and how do you improve as an individual and how do you help improve this program and this football team, you have to take it every opportunity you have. And we have another opportunity this week. We all want next year to be better than this year. Well, why are we waiting till next year to start working? Let's start right now. And that's just continue to be my message to these guys. And I was pleasantly surprised of how they came out and practiced today. Because we're going to play an opponent that's going to be excited about being there. And if you're not excited about playing and you just show up and think you can flip the switch on game day and be ready to play, that's when you get embarrassed. And that's some of that's happened this year for us. We've shown up thinking we're going to show up and be ready to play, and we haven't been. You got to put in the work just to have an opportunity to win on Saturdays. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but it'll give you a chance. So we're trying to put in the work to give us an opportunity and enjoy being here and enjoy being around each other. And that's another thing. These guys got to start enjoy being around each other. If they don't enjoy being around each other and want to, run off in every different direction every time we have a free break, South Carolina is never going to be what we want it to be. The greatest teams, they're always together. They're always hanging out. They're always doing things together. They love being around each other. And that's what we got to get on this football team, is that family and that love for one another, not love for ourselves. Love for one another. And then that's when good things happen to yourself, is when you focus on somebody besides yourself.
All right. Last question goes to Dick Cox.
Coach, bowls have always been fun. Opportunity to go and have some fun and have a lot of activities. Do you have anything special for Christmas Day, and do you practicing in Columbia having fun activities for the team this week?
That's a good question. Coach George Wynn, our director of football operations, and myself are going to get together and try to do some fun activities and kind of treat this like we're at the bowl, site. We went to Frankie's, I believe the name of it, the go-kart place on Friday, and the kids got to do that, and they were excited about doing that. And we'll do some things this week, whether it's bowling or movies. We are Thursday when we get there on Christmas Eve. We're going to go to Topgolf, that night. So we're going to do some activities and try to reward these guys. And it's not reward for winning 2 ball games. Sometimes people look at it that way. Well, you won 2 ball games, you don't deserve. So reward for continuing to fight, for South Carolina, and you have another opportunity to fight. And, there's a lot of sacrifices you make, to be a college football player. And we're going to try to reward those guys, for doing that, but they still know they got a job to do. And the fun is in winning the bowl games. There's a lot of bowl games and a lot of memories that I've coached in and played in over the years. I remember the ones we won more than the ones that we lost. I guarantee you that.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.